Good morning, Synth Drones. Hi, I'm Pure Ambient Drone, aka James Drone. Hit that subscribe button, tap that bell, keep up with all of my synth adventures. Today is Sunday. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. You are looking at a Prophet 12. Very digital sounding synthesizer, very metallic. That's not a bad thing, it's just a different thing. And I have recently been getting myself deeply into sequential even more than I did in the past. Um, I went through a transition time of where I just ended up with a bunch of sequential synthesizers without even thinking about it. And then new stuff started hitting the market, and then old stuff started getting my attention, like the Virus B, which is a great VA, the System 1M, the System 8 that you see right up here. Um, so I started selling off some gear to make room, and you can see that there is some room in here now. But after the sequential stuff was gone, I went into the recording phase, and when the product was finished, everything was a little too sterile, which can be a problem with digital synthesizers and virtual analog synthesizers. That's not a knock on them. That's not a trash out for them. It's just, an observation that unless you put in the extra work that is necessary for those types of synthesizers, you can at times end up with a static sounding or lifeless recording. And so what I was doing is I was recording stuff with these three synthesizers right here, the Radius, the Virus B, the System 1M, and even the System 8, which are all fantastic. In fact, the System 8 is an absolutely incredible sounding VA and one of the most analog sounding synthesizers that is a VA that I personally have ever encountered. So I was using a lot of these along with the Quantum right here. And I wasn't putting any analog flavor into it, even though over here covered up is the Moog 1. And so, I just acquired the 6 track and the Juno 106. I just acquired those again. Um, so I was missing the analog flavor of the OB6, the Prophet 6. And so there's some empty spots up through here and right through here. And I have repurchased these synthesizers and along with the Rev 2. And I did that because I was missing the analog flavor that Sequential brought to my studio. And yeah, you can get analog flavor from all sorts of different synthesizers. But if you guys recall a video that I did some time ago called, like the best synthesizer, in that video, I discussed the best synthesizer is the one that works for you, the one that you like, the one that you can do the workflow and gel with it and gives you the sounds you're looking for. So, without even thinking about it, I discovered that Sequential is the synth company that I'm most attracted to. And I'm very excited because Dave Smith on his birthday announced that there's a new sequential synthesizer that is coming out by him. And so, I'm thinking about this and I'm wondering, okay, is this going to be a polyphonic synthesizer of the Pro 3, which I understand is 3 notes, but remember he did the Pro 2 and then he did the Prophet 6, which is a variation of the Pro 2 with more voices. Okay, it's got different filters. And so I'm hoping that he's going to come out with a polyphonic synthesizer version of the Pro 3. And when I say polyphonic, I don't mean the 3 voices that he currently has, like he had 4 voices on the Pro 2. I'm talking about maybe 8, even 6 I'd be happy with. Um, I'm really excited. So, but then the other side of it is I'm thinking, well, what if he comes out with a one voice version of it, which I don't know. That wouldn't make any sense to me, but he did that with the Poly Evolver. Remember the mono version he did? But because the Pro 3 is already being tagged as a mono synth, I don't think he would do that. So all this is speculation. It's just been rolling around in my head. What is Dave Smith gonna unleash on us? Supposedly it was supposed to be announced in August or even released. I'm not sure which. And then I heard rumors that maybe September is now the date. And I'm still not sure if this is a unveiling date or if it's just the date that he's going to release the synth on. But I'm really excited about it because I would really like to get my hands on a new full polyphonic synthesizer from Sequential. Dave Smith, he makes some of the best synthesizers in the world. And so I've been playing with this Prophet 12 here, making some patches for it. As some of you may already know, I have been getting into the patch creation craze. I did some for the Gaia, and they're on my website, jamesdrone.com. I had a lot of fun making those patches, so I thought, well, why not continue on with the Prophet 12 and see where that goes? Because the Prophet 12 is such an interesting synthesizer and very unique among the synthesizers that are currently out there on the market, and unique among Dave Smith's collection. And that's one of the things I touched on in another video with sequential synthesizers. You get different flavors every time one comes out. So it's not like it's a rehash of all of his old stuff. It's more like a new take on an entirely different synthesizer. It's innovative, and I like that. And some could argue the point that, he's still trying to recreate the magic of yesteryear. Well, he did that with the Prophet 6 and the OB6. He did a fantastic job. I don't see why we would ever need a clone of a Prophet 5. Oh man, I can just see right now. Hold the phone. The comment section is going to light up on that comment. But until you've experienced a Prophet 6 and really dug into it, I don't see why we need a Prophet 5 clone from Behringer or anyone else as I think about it. And I'll tell you why. Because if Dave Smith, if you feel that Dave Smith, the creator of the Prophet 5, has not done it justice with the Prophet 6, then a synth company like Behringer, I mean, how can a third party come in and steal the magic from Dave Smith, who is the author and creator of the Prophet 5? And but besides that, he did a fantastic job on the Prophet 6. It's got everything you would want from a Prophet 5 with an extra voice and some modern take. So I wouldn't be so excited about a Prophet 5 clone. I don't even think I would spend my money on one. Some would argue, well, there's character difference in the sound. I don't think there's enough there to justify Behringer cloning it, other than Behringer wants to make a cheaper alternative for customers because the Prophet 6 is very expensive. I think at the time of this video, they're running about $2,900 for the keyboard. So, yeah, if you want a cheap take on it, you could, and I don't mean cheap. That's the wrong word because I don't want to imply that Behringer synthesizers are cheaply made. But an inexpensive take on it would be a Behringer clone. But because I'm touching on a lot of stuff here in this video today. So the Behringer clone, the Behringer clone thing, man, I keep up with a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of stuff going out there. But one of the things that I find kind of, I don't know if the word strange is the right word for it, but it's almost like Santa Claus shows up at the mall and he pulls out a toy train set for the little kiddies. And then another kid comes along and starts asking Santa Claus for things that are not in the bag. Okay, so Santa Claus empties the bag out, and there's nothing but train sets in there. But then there's this one or two kids that start saying, "You got an airplane in there to go with those trains?" And before you know it, other kids hear him saying this and they misunderstand and they start running to Santa Claus in the mall saying, "Hey, Santa, do you have a train? Can I have a train? I want a train. I want a train." And it gets to the point where people are like expecting so much from Santa to pull out of his bag. And when he can't pull it out quick enough, they're mad. Does anybody understand this analogy? I'm trying to say that I'm seeing all these people begging Behringer to make clones. And I'm ready for something new. I'm ready for Behringer to take their expertise and innovate something. I mean, one of their bragging points is that they got some of the best people in the synth business from today and yesteryear working on these clones. Why can't we see something innovative? Some people would say that the neutron is something that was innovative, and I would agree with that. The neutron was something that surprised us. But other than that, we've seen nothing but imitations and knockoffs. And that's okay. I'm thankful for all of that stuff. But when it comes to synthesizers, a lot of us synth drones, especially those who follow this channel, we've seen a lot of stuff and we've been exposed to a lot of synthesizers. We've played a lot of gear. And we get this mentality of been there, done that, and some of us don't agree that the clones are even doing the originals justice in many cases. And I think that there's some truth to that because I don't think you can put lightning in a bottle once it's back out or once it's out. I don't think you can put it back in once lightning's out of the bottle. So Behringer, it's just impossible for them to create a perfect clone. It's just not going to happen for any of their synthesizers. They did a fantastic job with the Model D, which I absolutely loved. I don't have it here anymore because I'm not the kind of person that likes synthesizers without presets. I just like to have presets. I like to be able to recall stuff and build on them. So my latest studio setup doesn't have any synthesizers that can't save presets. That's just me. If you guys don't care, that's fine. That's great for you. But Behringer, they have been heading in this clone direction for a long time. They've been teasing a lot of people and asking people a lot of stuff about what they would want to see. And a lot of people accuse Behringer of living off of somebody else's work. And I don't know if that's exactly fair or not, because I think all of us kind of copy one another. That's how human beings learn. I mean, we learn to speak by copying other people who are talking around us. For instance, if you're around people who cuss a lot, you could pick up their habits because you'll start to copy what they say. You'll start to copy their behaviors. And so to say that Behringer are copycats, well, I don't know. I mean, every time we drive a car, right, we're copying somebody else's invention. Every time we use an airplane, we're copying somebody else's invention because, I mean, let's be honest, the people who started the car and who started the airplane, people have copied them, right? And it gives us choices on the market. And I believe that competition does two things. It drives the prices down and it drives companies out of business. Because what happens is when you got a synth company like Behringer who starts cornering the market, you're going to have competitors that are going to lose sales because for the price of a $2,000 to $3,000 synthesizer, you could almost buy every single piece of synth gear from Behringer. And a lot of people have figured that out. So instead of financing a $3,000 synthesizer, they're going over to Behringer and buying $3,000 worth of gear. and they're having a whole complete studio setup, which I think is really smart to do unless you're just a purist and you think that these clones have to be 100%. Let's be clear, there is no clone in the world that's going to ever be 100% ever. It's just not going to happen. There's too many variables to recreate. The factories, the people, the engineers, the schematics, you name it. All of that stuff is decades old, and most of it has been lost and remanufactured into something new and re-geared and refixed and retrofitted into modern day stuff. Where we used to have handcrafted items, we've got computers and machines now doing it. And I'm not saying that that's better. I'm not saying it's not better. I'm just saying it's different. And so, there's going to be no clone. But do we need clones that are 100%? I don't know. It depends on what you're looking for. I listened to the Monopoly, and I didn't get much out of the Behringer demos because they did multi-tracks with it, unless there's something else out there that I missed. But the initial sound that I heard from the Monopoly, I wasn't impressed with. It sounded too smooth, too perfect. I mean, I don't know. It's to me, and I've said this to my circle of friends, it sounded like the Behringer Monopoly had some kind of like digital tuning to it or something. It was too perfect. I've owned a Monopoly and I've played on that thing for hours and hours. A Monopoly is a fun synthesizer. The original Korg Monopoly that I had, I spent literally hours upon hours just playing with the sounds that thing could make, and you never get tired of it. It's just an amazing synthesizer, and it's one of the synthesizers that I miss the most in my studio. But man, the prices are outrageous for them, and I just cannot see spending upwards to $2,000 on one right now. So anyway, I don't know. I mean, for right now, I'm dealing with sequential stuff, and I'm getting that stuff back in my studio. And I think I'm pretty content with the setup that I have with sequential. And I don't think, other than a new poly from them, I'll be adding anything else. Although I have been tempted to add the mono, not the mono, but the poly evolver. But I had that before, including a rack that went with it. So I had 8 voices, and it's wow. It was nice, but I don't need it. You see what I mean? I just want it. Boy, do I want it. I mean, do you ever gasp for things that you don't need, but you just want? So, anyways, this is the Sunday synth ramble, if you will. And these are the things that are on my mind. I'm just talking out loud here, or is that thinking out loud? Well, I'm doing both, actually. I'm thinking out loud and talking out loud. But these are the things that have been going through my mind. And just tell you guys a little update. What I'm getting ready to do is I have bought a Korg Poly 6 is on the way into the studio. I missed the mono poly so bad, but I thought having 6 voices would be wow. And I've had them before, so I know what to expect. Unfortunately, the 3 other ones that I had in the past didn't survive shipping very well. So there was immense issues with them that made them unkeepable. So they had to go back, unfortunately. I'm hoping this one will survive the trip. But I do have the Korg Monopoly. My wish list of synthesizers is very short right now because I have so much. And if you get too much, you obtain too much, you get, I get very overwhelmed with choices in the studio. Sequential right now is where I'm heading, and I'm probably going to stay there from now on, along with some of the vintage gear that I like from Korg and Roland. So, anyways, what do you guys think about all of this? What are your guys' dreams and hopes and wishes for the future? 2020 hasn't been very kind to any of us thus far, and it kind of needs a reboot. But we have to play the hand we're dealt. And so maybe you guys got some plans that were put on hold because of all of this stuff. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Hit the subscribe button, give this video a like, and give it a share. Support me, guys, over at jamesdrone.com. That's the place to be to connect with me. Until next time, I am James Drone, aka Pure Ambient Drone. Keep calm and synth on.